So in this video, we're going to be doing a visual comparison of two very large notepads. On the top, we have a Moleskine A3 sketchbook, and on the bottom is a Rhodia number 38 A3 Plus notepad. Basically, if you're in the market for some paper products and you're trying to buy it online, you might benefit from a visual comparison between the different sizes. So I wanted to jump into this one, even though it's rather niche, given quite how large A3 and A3 Plus are. But they are expensive, so this could be helpful. And just keep in mind, the camera's set on a wide mode, so the perspectives will be a little bit off, but everything should be relatively correct. Okay, so on the top, we have a Moleskine Art A3. This is a very large sketchbook. It is 11.75 by 16.5 inches, but on their website, Moleskine calls it 16.5 by 12. 11.75 is a little bit more accurate, but again, quite large. This is a art edition, so it's Moleskine Art. This is for sketching. This is not something you're gonna take notes in. So if you're looking for something portable to take to the museum or take to art class, and you want to have something relatively large with a very thick, heavy paper for sketching, this is going to be a nice option. It's not cheap, but it's high quality and it's quite specialized. Here it is relative to a standard gel pen. It's another pen, and this is an A4 sheet of paper, normal A4 standard office type paper. So you could see this is normally considered to be a large size notebook. It is much smaller than A3. An A4, just for the record, will be half of one sheet of A3. So this plus this would be A3. That's how that works out. This right here, this is a desk pad or a notepad or a dot pad, whatever you want to call it, depending on the terminology you're using. From Rhodia, they call it the number 38. This is an A3 Plus. It is 16.5 by 12.5 inches or 420 by 318 millimeters. And this is an A3 Plus. That's not an official size in the sort of ISO spectrum, but A3 Plus is commonly understood to be about 329 by 483 millimeters. You see all that right there. So technically the Rhodia is a little bit larger because it's A3 Plus, and the Plus is normally used if you want to have like edge-to-edge printing. You can do that if you have some extra paper on the side. So you would have the Plus, then the printer would chop the excess off to get it down to A3. That way A3 Plus doesn't have to be a standard size, but it should be cut down to that A3 standard eventually. This is a piece of note paper that opens. This notepad opens at the top. It's staple bound, so you have that single sheet of A3 Plus. Here is that pen or those pens, and here is the A4 sheet on there. So the A3 Plus is a really nice size I use it for testing pens. Again, it's also good for sketching. It's kind of overwhelming for note taking, but you could use it for maybe storyboarding or some sort of visual representation of your ideas, or kind of like flow diagrams and things like that. Anything that requires some visual breakdown of a flow or a process or something like that, this is good for sketching and things like that too. But typically with that dot grid, you're doing something more work oriented, not sketching. As far as the A3 versus A3 Plus goes, I'll line up the bottom left-hand corner of these, and you could see the A3 Plus is a little bit wider, maybe half an inch wider, where this one has the A3 being a little bit taller. That just has to do with how the Moleskine has a sort of hard edge, so it extends out a little bit more. But obviously, it doesn't make sense that A3 would be larger than A3 Plus. The A3 Plus has that little bit of extra width and height. It appears to be a little bit smaller. Say it's about the same height because this one has the hardcover and this one doesn't. So about the same height. The A3 Plus gets you a little bit of extra width, but it's really not a giant difference between the two. On paper, They are both 16.5 inches wide. Just the A3 Plus gets you the 12.5 inch height, where this one has the 11.75 inches. So it's a little bit different. Again, like I said, about 0.7 inches, give or take. It's a little bit hard to judge because of the hard cover on this. It does overhang a little bit, so it makes it look larger. Anyway, if you're looking for a giant sketchbook, either A3 or A3 Plus will do the trick. Typically, you're seeing A3. That's more common. Rhodia just happens to make the A3 Plus. It's sort of a specialty thing for, kind of like big work products and sort of used as a desk pad. You could open this up and put your laptop on it and still have extra room to work on. So this is sort of a giant notepad for work. This Moleskine is a very large sketch pad for doing drawings and stuff like that. But that is the comparison between the two. Thanks for watching.